Hello, good evening. Welcome to Between the Reels with Mildred Simi Gang. How are you doing today? I hope you had an amazing week. I hope you also having an amazing weekend. Okay, today 25th November 2023. I made a post earlier and okay, the post was about marking today the 25th of November 2023, and we're talking gender-based violence. And I know that in this part of the world and other parts of the world, we'll be celebrating America, they're celebrating Thanksgiving. So before I go into the business for the day, let me say, or permit me to say, Happy Thanksgiving to my family in America, and happy Thanksgiving to my family in Nigeria because I know the Thanksgiving seasons are here, and truly we have reasons to be grateful, reasons to be thankful. We have not reasons to be thankful. Like, thank you, Lord, for protection, for healing, for provision. I mean, the times are crazy. There's just so much happening at the same time, and if you're here, if you're still alive, you're still healthy, it's a good time to say thank God. Thank God. Many people cannot even afford to sit upright, can't eat, can't walk around. Some are in the hospital, been in bed reading for months. Some have been, mourning back to back, losing loved ones. There's just so much happening to people right now, and this is one of those seasons. This is that season where we all are grateful to God and just saying thank you, Jesus, for seeing us throughout the year. For me, I have enough reasons to be grateful. Sometimes you're tempted to just feel or think that you have more reasons not to be thankful, but if you look closely, there's more than enough reason to be thankful. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. So today, without wasting much time, I would like to talk about um, a particular movie. But before we go into that, movies on gender-based violence and the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is going to run for from 25th of November to 10th of December. That's 16 days. And I'm not making promises, but I'll try as much as I can to drop movie recommendations within the 16 days to movies. Not just movies that just show gender-based violence, movies that show this content and give you solutions. What should you do? Because I found that hello, I see you. I found out that most times people do not even know what to do when they're faced with such situations. So the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign kicks off between the 25th to the 10th of December. It's an international day for elimination of violence against women, and runs on it's a human rights call. And then this calls for prevention and elimination of violence against women and girls. And it's proven that 1 out of 3 women have experienced gender-based violence at some point in their lives, whether as kids, hello, I see you, whether as kids or adults or teenagers, at one point or the other, they've experienced this. So, but before we go, let me just do a quick one on what is gender-based violence. Perhaps someone is asking, how do you know? What is termed as gender-based violence? Now, the term is referred to any act. It's an act, an action um, of harm directed at a person because of their gender, being maybe they're weaker or in a place of a weaker position. Hi, um, Ebles, I see you. Hello, good evening. So it's referred to an act of harm directed at the person because of their gender, Gender-based violence predominantly affects women. Predominantly affects women. So it's either physical, whether it's physical, sexual, mental abuse, female genital mutilation, that's FMG, and sex trafficking, child marriage. These are some of the gender-based violence. So sometimes we hear gender-based violence, you're thinking it's when you hit a person or slap the person. It doesn't end there. There are lots more. There are lot more. I think uh the oh god, what's the name now? Number five of the world. Okay, I'll remember. I don't know how it just skipped my mind now. Number five of the world glow. I remember then. It talks about this. You find what gender-based violence is. You see a number of them there. I hope I remember before the end. I don't know how it just skipped my mind. So now research shows that majority of men now, when we say I mentioned that predominantly it's the women who are affected by this act, this violence. It's violence against women. There's gender-based violence, and then we have violence against women. Now, the men they say who abuse women, it has been proven that these men, hi, I see you. It has been proven that these men who abuse women have been abused by. They also been abused somehow at some point in their lives. So this is not to make excuses for anyone, but we have seen clearly that the people who abuse other people are hurting people. So this is not to excuse anybody's behavior, but this is just to say that remember we talked about last time, we talked about mental health issues, and we said if you know someone who you suspect is going through some mental health issue, please, if you see someone hitting his wife or hitting his daughter, or engaging in any of this and just sex mutilation. Okay. Okay, I'll be okay. Hi, Daddy. My daddy's here. Hi, Daddy. I see you. Good evening, sir. Okay, I'll bring you license. So we have abuse. When a father or a husband or a brother is abusing his the opposite sex. That's what we're talking about, gender and violence against women. So this is a topic we're going to be addressing in these 16 days of activism. This is our own way on Between the Reels of contributing to the activism that is going on between the 16th 25th to 10th of December. So the Minister of Women Affairs, Mrs. Uju Kennedy, said that 27,698 cases of sexual and gender-based violence (SGBV) were recorded in 6 states, Nigeria, between the year 2020 and 2021. If you agree with me, you see that 2021 we had a rise in gender-based violence. I think I did a video about that period where we had that in the rise. It went really by a 50-60%. It just went boom up, and that was because people we're like in each other's faces. Everybody was on lockdown for months together. So that case was bad. And it says since 2020 we've had 27,698 cases of sexual and gender-based violence. That's not good. So I just thought to just give you a background on why we're having this conversation and why the choice of this movie. Now, this movie that we're going to be talking about today, I see you, thank you. This movie we're going to be talking about today is it's a 2002 movie. Now, that's not to say that we haven't had recent movies, but I chose the movie because the title is Enough. I've seen it. I think I've seen it a long time ago. I kind of like saw it again. It's titled Enough, and that's my first reason for choosing this particular movie. So I'm going to share other movies that you can learn about gender-based violence. But this particular movie is titled Enough, 2002. way back as 2002. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick background. I think I shared it earlier, but a quick background about on it. Okay, so it's a movie about a working class waitress called Slim. Now that role was taken by Jennifer Lopez, and she thought she was entering a life of domestic bliss when she married Mitch, Billy Campbell, now played by Billy Campbell. Now the man of her dreams, that's Mitch, right? After the arrival of their first child, her picture perfect life. You know how we all feel mushy mushy. I just feel somehow that I'm talking about this shortly after we're doing Just Us Girls and talking about marriage. But that's life anyway. You know, that's everybody has witnessed this at one point of their life. There's that moment where you're feeling mushy, and then before you know it. Okay, but we're not doing premarital class now or something. We're talking about gender-based violence, especially in homes, in marriages. So she goes into this picture married like picture perfect marriage, right? And she thinks her picture perfect life is just going to continue, but it's soon shattered when she discovered that this Mitch of a man that she married has hidden possessive dark side. Now he's a controlling and abusive man with a kind of alter ego that can turn that just turn around and just like she's like, what is this? You know, when you meet this very nice, calm gentleman and then boom, he just goes. I remember there's a scene in the movie where he knocks on her window while he's chasing her, and there's a flash of him giving her a rose in the diner. I was like, oh, I like that. She just went, is this the same guy that was just loving me up that just wants to kill me right now? So her life is completely turned around by this abusive man. He becomes his controlling, his abusive. This is something like she may say she never saw in him. This guy that she trusted, this guy that she loved, that she was at peace with, you know, they had this peace and tranquility. Suddenly everything is turning into terror. Now, she's terrified not just for herself, but for her child. And I know a number of times when you have marriages that are suffering with GBVs, you have the most of the times when you ask the women, why did you stay? They're telling you, because of my children. So she's worried about the safety of her child. So Slim flees for her daughter with her daughter. But he is relentless in his pursuit and enlisting the aid of a little henchman. Mitch continually stalks her. He continually stalks her to prey on her. He keeps following her. He gets hitmen to follow her everywhere. Finally, at the end of it, after having exhausted all options, Slim is forced to fight back, engaging Mitch in a physical and psychological battle, showing him that she's had enough. She has had enough. She's had enough. She has had enough. And I'm not saying that women, not just for women, I'm saying that not just the woman who is in that situation, you and I who have been faced with this situation should be able to look and say, I have had enough. I have had enough of this. We've had enough. We don't want this to continue. We don't want to have women dying because of gender-based violence. We don't want to have troubled children. Now I'm going to come later and talk about how this affects the children. Remember I mentioned that men who abuse women have also been abused at some point in their lives. So you see that in the movie we have this woman having a beautiful marriage, as also she thought, and this man, because he's rich, he's comfortable, you know, he's talking to her anyhow. He thinks that he just has money, and he just goes about, you know, beating her up. And there was this place where he was beating her seriously, and the daughter comes and the daughter is saying, daddy, stop it, daddy, stop it, and he pushes the daughter away. You have no idea what that has done to the daughter. Now sometimes people think that the children don't see. I'm sorry, it's a lie. You have no idea how far this action or this act can go. It hurts. It hurts really, really bad. It hurts the children. They see you, and they're extremes to this thing. Sometimes these children. Now let's start with the male child. The male child is seen, if he sees his father as a role model, what you will have, the tendency is that he's seeing someone who he's seeing his father's lifestyle as that's how it should be. So you see a young man who just hit any girl on the street. I'm a woman, I know how it feels. Sometimes you're talking to somebody in a corporate organization or in the market or so, a man, and they tell you, I have your type at home. I always tell, I just go about, I just look around like, why? Why do you just see me and just assume that I'm your wife or your younger sister? You know, they say the man is the head of is the head. They always remove the part where they say the head of the home. The man is the head of his home. You don't come out and you're slapping everybody. But sometimes that's how they saw their parents behave, and they just think that's okay. It's okay for a man to hit a woman. No, I tell my young boys, your hands are not meant for hitting people. They're meant to bless people. You don't use your hands on people. You don't just slap anybody or just hit anybody. So sometimes you think that your children are not seeing, but they are looking at you. They see that daddy hits mommy, daddy hits my sister, daddy hits us anyhow, and they grow up being this violence, you know. And that's the menace that we are creating in the society. It's replicating. We have been then when the Bible says be fruitful and multiply. You're multiplying your kind. You know, that's the problem. Then and then that's another extreme. The other extreme is that there are men who have said, my father was like this and I don't want to be like that. Two things happen to such men. They avoid marriage. It makes them not want to get married. And you have old men, grown up adults who are avoiding relationships. They're avoiding anything marriage because they don't even trust themselves. I was having a conversation with someone lately, and the person said that they are afraid of behaving the way their parents behaved or has been behaving in their own marriage, hence they're avoiding relationships. So parents, you don't know how far this affects your child. Now that's for the boy. Now he can avoid relationships, and some of them, even when they decide to go into relationship, they can also enter abusive relationships. I know I mentioned that women are mostly those who are predominantly affected by gender-based violence. However, there are rare cases of women abusing men, women beating men, women being verbally abusive to their husband. And if you have a man who grew up in that environment, waking up to say, I don't want to be like my father, hence he becomes timid. You can see some of the children become so timid they can't say anything. These are extreme cases. Now that's for the boy child. And for the girl child, who is mostly on the receiving end, you have a girl who grows up seeing that her father beats her mother and thinks that is how it is. And sometimes she's attracted to men like that, men who will beat her, a man who will talk to her anyhow, a man who will look down on her, a man who will treat her anyhow. She's always finding herself in that kind of environment. There are also the other extreme, that the girl grows up to say, look, I saw my father beat my mother. No man will treat me like that. And you end up having a girl who is rebellious and says, I'm not going to get married. You have, and I think that's some of the problems we have in society. We're not having the conversations completely. We have women who are coming up to be feminists. Sometimes when you check the background, there's a default, there's a problem, there's a fault rather, there's a problem. She has seen some kind of abuse. She's been abused by her uncle who lived with her, who lived with them, or by a neighbor. Or she has been beaten all her life. You know, hello, I see you all. Thank you for showing up. She has been beaten, and because of that, it makes her that she sees that I don't want to be this person. So it makes her become hardened. It makes her want to become a tough, this woman that thinks that nobody can talk to me. And that's how you have arrogant women walking around. There are many reasons why people choose to be arrogant, but I'm just saying that these are some of the reasons why you may have some women walking around saying they're feminists and they don't even understand what it means to be a feminist. The husband cannot talk to them, and sometimes they may end up marrying a very good and gentle man, but because they've seen how their father treated their mother, they say, no, all men are like this, hence I'm not going to let any man treat me anyhow. Some of them end up getting married, some don't, and end up becoming a problem in the society. Some just so many things that you don't know how far these actions can affect your children, you know. And then I'm talking about the effects of gender-based violence on the children right now. Like in this movie, he hits his daughter, but he claims that he loves his daughter, and he's trying to take the daughter away from the mother. Now, if he kills the mother, what then happens? I remember the movie that came out earlier this year. What's the name? Chris Hemsworth movie, the the one where he went out to save this family that the man was keeping the wife and the two children in prison. You know, they kind of like had them in prison and raised them in prison. He beats the daughter, the wife, in front of his children, and they see. But the boy believes that his father is doing it for their own good. You think they're not seeing, but they are seeing. They know what you're doing. You know, they may not. Some of them may not be able to come out. Right? I think there was a video that was trending lately about a daughter coming out to defend her mother, and some people were like, "That's disrespectful" and all that. You know, you're putting your children in positions you shouldn't put them. You're making them having to choose sides, and nobody in their right senses will watch you hit somebody. I don't understand it. You know. So this subject of gender-based violence seems like it's a serious problem that the human race is finding it difficult to solve. But I would always say one thing: the reason why we are having this conversation in the first place is to be able to enlighten each other, to be able to encourage one another, to say, we may not get it all over the world all at the same time, but if every one of us gets up and says it's enough, then it's enough. If you see your neighbor hit his wife, for me, I say that the first sign for me in a relationship is if the guy jokingly says, "I will slap you." Hello. He said it's a joke. You don't use that for a joke for me. The moment you say, "I will slap you," I don't care how romantically you said it. Sorry, I don't know if there's a word like that. "I will slap you" is "I will slap you." Those are signs, you know. Let's not even go there. I've seen how back to back people just let people stay in such marriages, in such relationship, in such abusive environments, and it's not good. It's not good that we do things like that. We don't tell people the truth. We keep telling them that you have to stay, you have to stay. Don't stay and don't die. We've seen cases like that that have gone viral, of cases of prominent people or people who nobody knows and dying because somebody did not tell them the truth. I'm going to come to that. So this lady is fixed in a marriage where she wants to leave, but she cannot leave. The good thing for her is that she has friends that she's able to talk to, and we see her friends try to save her, but the man will not let them. There was a scene where they had planned with her to escape that night, and he caught her on her way out, and they all rushed in, and he had already hit her. She had lost consciousness. The daughter was sleeping on the bed, and he brings out the gun and he wants to shoot them, and they're saying, "Please, just let this girl go. We promise we will not even file any case. Just let us go." And they carry the daughter and use the daughter to blackmail and wake the daughter up and say, look at daddy's carrying a gun, and he hides the gun. And I was watching the movie with Ruby, and Ruby was like, why did he I said, no, he doesn't want his daughter to see him like that. It means that he thinks some of them don't do. He wants his daughter to think he's a good person. And sometimes you leave the mother. I've seen cases where the mother doesn't even tell the children what is going on in the marriage. I mean, it's between both of you. And you brought these innocent children to the world. If you know you are not ready, why bring them? Why lie to them? You're making the mother lie because the mother doesn't want the children to think their father is a bad person, and the other vice versa. But you don't know that the children are watching. That's the problem. They are watching. That's just one thing. If you don't remember anything today, just remember that they're watching. These young people, they see everything. They may not be able to say anything, but they're watching, and you have no idea how they'll respond to this. And that's why we are having a circle of problems. We need to break this circle. Enough. It's time to say enough. Like Jennifer Lopez or Slim in this movie said enough. It got to a point she said enough. The friends tried to take her. She ran away. He follows her. She goes to another city. She goes to Los Angeles. He sends hitmen to go look for her. They search for her. She finds a solace in a place, an old friend. He threatens her. She moves to another city. She had to go look. Then he freezes all her accounts. She doesn't have money. She could not do anything. If at the end of the day, she ended up in a homeless people's home and this shelter where she had to go just to take care of her daughter. But when she had had enough and he came back to look for her, that was when she told herself, enough is enough. Now, I'll just go quickly to some of the lessons that I learned in the movie. Report. If you know someone, if you're in that kind of condition, please report on the first event. Report it to the right authorities. Don't let evidence pile up or go missing. Now, I said that because of there's a scene in the movie where she goes to a police station, and she tells the police officer, my friend, she didn't want to say disclose that she's the one, my friend is being abused, husband wants to kill her, and the police says, okay, we can give you a restriction order. She said, okay, what if this man is rich, he can get bail, what if he comes after her? They say, okay, what about her child? The man said, well, there's a child involved, that case belongs in the family court. And when she heard all that, she knows that the guy is rich, he's going to find his way around the system or something. I don't know, but she went. Now, she also goes to this attorney to help. I think he's a family lawyer, and he tells her that's one of the things I learned from this movie. He asks her, when did this start? She told him, and he said, you should have reported the incident the first time it started. The first time it happened, you would have gone straight to the police, reported him. Meanwhile, you still had the bruises on you and everything. If you had reported to the police would have done something about it. The record would be there. The second time he does it, go report. Now they have record. But you're coming now to make claims that he's threatening your life. There is no record of it. And by this time, you're all getting better, So the man says, I can't help you. It has gotten bad because now the man wants to kill you. So that's one of the things I learned, that sometimes we think that we are piling it up. Sometimes people are saying, for the sake of my family sanity, you will die. And that thing you're trying to hide will come out in public. I'm not talking up to just the women, no. It's even both ways. Sometimes there are men who are in abusive marriages, who are going through gender-based violence. The women are abusing you in whatever way. Please report. We have the Human Rights Authority, Human Rights Organization, very active. They're working. Reports. I've told you, and when we talked the last time, I said if you have any case like if you can't get the numbers, I can link you up. Just find solutions. So don't let it pile up. Don't let it pile up. The moment it happens, for me, the moment you say I will slap you, kia, me, I'm going to leave your side. I don't even have time for that one. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family. That's one of the things I learned in this movie. This lady, despite the fact that she had made some mumu decisions like that, she also had friends who were looking out for her. And part of the things that these friends helped her do was, at the end of the movie, she had to go learn how to fight to defend herself, because at this point she was left with no choice but to defend herself. I don't know why she didn't go to the police in the first place to get protection. However, she had to defend herself. But she had people who she was talking to. Surround yourself with the right people, family and friends. Just surround yourself with the right people who will give you counsel. Now, sometimes people will tell you, don't be talking to just anybody. I have seen something under the sun. Let me talk like King Solomon here. I have seen a foolishness under the sun, and that folly is that when couples have problems, they go to tell their parents. I don't think that's wisdom. Your parents love you, so naturally they will defend you. It takes just a few parents to act objectively. So I think that if you have, I'm not married, I may not be experienced maritally, but I've been around enough to know that once you have problems whatsoever and you need to talk to someone, don't let it be either of your family members. Go to someone objective. Now, if you're religious, you belong to a religious group or organization, talk to your religious leaders. Now, I also want to say that religious leaders, pastors, imams, have to know the law so they can help these people, especially when gender-based violence is involved, when you have these issues of genital mutilation, sexual abuse and all that. Please, our leaders have to know what the law is saying, so you can know how to protect these people. Because we are telling them, don't go immediately to your immediate family. Your immediate family will definitely defend you. So the right thing to do is to go to a body that is objective, people who can see clearly. They are not biased. They are not related to you in any way. They're not, just please do that. And and then cover up. Speak up to save your life. Speak up, save your life, save the life of your children. I'm not saying you should divorce your partner. I'm saying save your life until the matter is solved and we know that the home is safe for you and you're safe wherever you are. Until then, you can move. You can just move. You can just find solution. You run and find help. It's very, very important. You know, the movie I talked about last time when I was talking about mental health issues, I was talking about the girl in the basement. If her mother had addressed the issue of her father's abusive behavior, her daughter would not have ended up in the basement with 5 of her father's children. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry, I wanted to bring you up, but I just had to say all this. Thank you so much, Daddy. So, let's protect ourselves, protect your children. Remember that if you're alive, they will be alive. They will be alive to take care of them. If you go, another woman comes in and may not be able to take care of them. I said may not be able to. That is if the man, abusive man, even allows her to take care of the children. Okay, and one of the things I'll say lastly is learn self-defense. I said it. I think it's important. I'm not saying you should use it to kill anybody. I'm just saying you should be able to stand up for yourself. But the first wisdom to do as a woman, as a daughter, as a son, whoever it is, as a neighbor, is to be able to report. You don't have to be the one. I have been in a situation where a man, okay, this happened, where I was, this place where I was living, the security man beat his wife, and I didn't know about that. And then when I heard the stories, I never witnessed it until one day I witnessed it, and we were talking to the wife, and we said, okay, we're going to be, we know the right authorities, let's take this matter up. Do you know that this woman, I know that I said this, so just listen. This woman went back and I don't know what she told her husband, and I became the bad person, that the unmarried lady who wants to spoil their marriage, and somehow he stopped her from talking to me and all that, and my friend. Now I said that because sometimes people just want to mind their business because of this kind of things. You're trying to help the woman. Cases where the woman goes back and says, is this person that is trying to break our marriage? And then the cases where the woman goes and the man threatens her not to have anything to do with you, or where you have finished helping her. I've seen cases where they're still solving the problem. The woman goes ahead to bring the man back into her life, and he's still beating her in that condition. Now that lady still went on with that man, and the stories are bad. The stories are really bad, you know. So sometimes you just feel like you don't want to talk, or I just want to mind my business, you know. But please report. If you see anyone in danger, report. If there's a case of remember from the beginning we mentioned that the cases of gender-based violence can include where's that physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, when people are using verbal words and assaulting you, genital mutilation, sex trafficking, and child marriage. These are some of the cases, in case you're wondering what are these things that we're talking about. So we're talking about movies, and we're using movies to talk about this issue. It's 16 days of activism, right? Then quickly, let's just see a few movies. I'll just give you a list of some movies that have that address this issue, just in case you just want to go watch and see. Perhaps it will educate you and provoke you, encourage you to be more vocal about this. Let's not let this madness continue. Let's not let this evil to continue. Like I said, it doesn't end with the family. It's a circle. It affects the children, and these children grow up to be adults. They get married, and they become another problem in the society. That's how the circle continues. But the day we all get up and say enough, that day everything begins to stop. It may not stop all at once, but it starts. We begin. If every one of us starts to say enough, 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 enough. I mean, we can even trend the hashtag enough. You know, enough is enough. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. We can't. This has to stop. You know. So number one is Dry. I remember this movie very well because it was directed by Stephanie Linus. Idahosa. It's titled Dry. Now, Dry warns of the horrors of child marriage, and the film plays The film takes place in Nigeria and follows the story of a 13-year-old Halima who is married to a 60-year-old man by her parents. Halima is subjected to abuse and abandonment until she meets Zara, a doctor who tries to help her recover. Inspired by the problems of child marriage in Nigeria, Dry sheds light on an important topic that must be addressed in religions around the world. That's number one. Number two is a girl from Mogadishu, Somali-Irish activist Ifra Ahmed inspired the plot of The Girl from Mogadishu through her own experience of female genital mutilation, FGM, and which affects almost 200 million girls and women alive today. After being 200 million, that's a large number being affected today. After being trafficked from Somalia to Ireland as a teenager, Ifra is forced to relieve the trauma of undergoing female genital mutilation and decides to speak out against the practice to protect future generation of girls. That's number two. Number three is in The Invisible Man 2020. Now, in The Invisible Man, you can look for that movie. The trend of the popular movie genres tackling gender-based violence continues with the supernatural film. Now, The Invisible Man, which conveys the horror of intimate partner abuse. That's another level of it. Now, Hans-Maid Tale, actress Elizabeth Moss, takes on the role of Cecilia, a young woman whose abusive ex-boyfriend is thought to have committed suicide. After several strange incidents occur that highlight the fear, paranoia, and grisly that survivor of the abuse endure. Now, that the survivors abuse endure. Now, Cecilia begins to believe her late partner faked his death and came up with a way to torment her without being seen. Okay, so that's number four. And we have Bulbul. Bulbul is an Indian thriller film from the iconic production company Clean Slate Films, whose founder Karnish Sharma recently announced a female focused OTT platform launching in 2003, as Sharma describes himself as a male feminist. So I see a lot of men here, so you all please be on our side and defend women. It should be no surprise that Bulbul tackles a subject that will affect 150 million girls by 2030, that is child marriage. The film followed Bulbul, who is married off to an older man when she is just 5 years old. After undergoing abuse, harassment, and manipulation at home, Bulbul decides to fight back by targeting the men in her village who harm women. And the last but not the least is The Chosen Ones. This is a Mexican drama from the filmmaker David Pablo. The Chosen One is a heartbreaking tale of human trafficking. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, 71% of human trafficking victims are women and girls. The film shows how the character Sophia is led into sexual slavery when her boyfriend is revealed to be grooming her for his family human trafficking ring. While it may be difficult to watch, The Chosen One exposes an aspect of gender-based violence that takes place beneath the surface of everyday life. And that list was gotten, the source for that list is and The World We Want Global. The World We Want Global, we got that source, and that's the source for that particular piece I just read. So these are some movie recommendations that you can look at. There are many out there that can educate you on what to do. I'll put the list out so you can see and watch these movies. They will help you, give you perspective. Some of them show you exactly what to do. Like I said, the right authority, you have the police there, you have the human rights. It's a human rights issue we're dealing with here. Every person deserves to live happy, deserves to live in good condition. Let's say enough to physical abuse, enough to sexual abuse, enough to mental abuse, enough to female genital mutilation, enough to sex trafficking, and enough to child marriage. It's been Between the Reels, and we'll be looking at the movie Enough. Enough, enough, enough. I love the title, Enough. Nigerians will say, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough. Okay, enough. It was played by Jennifer Lopez and Billy Campbell. Those were the major characters in that movie. So if you haven't seen it, it's a 2002 movie, but it is interesting. It's action filled and it has a lot of tension in it. But at the end of the day, we see this woman pull through. But what we say here is that you don't have to let the matter get so bad. From the first time it starts, please address the issue. Don't wait until you lose your life. If you lose your life, it's going to be in the news, and don't wait until it's your word against theirs. Just save yourself right now. And you who is witnessing, please report. You can report anonymously just to help the person. They may deny it, but just do everything we can to save a life out there. But I will end with saying that let us all say enough is enough. We can overcome this evil. We can have a better society if each and every one of us gets up and says enough is enough. So thank you everyone who showed up here today. Thank you Rihanna Ebus, thank you Maku, thank you Shay Loving Kindness, sir, thank you Catherine Watrine, thank you Adamu Moses, sir, thank you Daddy. My daddy came up here today. Thank you so much everyone for showing up. Please share, please share, and tell us if you have any ideas or movies you want us to talk about. Please share and know that we're here talking about movies beyond entertainment. It's your responsibility to say enough is enough. Whatever it is that is happening around you that is not right, that is not human right, it's not human right. Say no to it. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. I remain Mildred Simigan. Bye for now. Hey, thank you.